Besides choosing our font, we have to consider which colors to use on our website. And generally, that's something we should consider before starting design our own website. We want to create a color palette, some basic colors we will reuse throughout the whole website, and that makes it more consistent, and we can really use colors to play around and create structure. Colors for us humans are extremely important. They really influence how we feel about something. They can influence our mood and how we portray something and how we consider a product. For example, you might have noticed that a lot of banks employ blue colors in their logos. And blue is considered to be portrays a more trustworthy, serious vibe. Whereas you might have also noticed that Burger King and McDonald's and Coca-Cola, they use a lot of red and yellow, because red and yellow increases your appetite. It makes you feel more warm. It makes you feel more homely. So with colors, we can influence the user, and colors really impact how the user perceives the website. In terms of color settings in Webflow, we have a few options. Now I'm going to the backgrounds, colors, and here you can see one important number, the hex code. Hex code allows us to identify each individual color on a digital product. You see, if I change this color here, it influences the hex code. By copy-pasting the hex code from a different program, for example, or if you want to make your text color the same as this one, you can copy-paste over the hex code and thereby transmit always the same color. Another option is to use the RGBA, which stands for red, green, blue, the three base colors. And with them, we can also recreate all the different colors and tones. The last thing to consider is the transparency. We can reduce the transparency to 0, meaning it is white or whatever background the higher nested element has. And by changing the transparency, we can again influence the color tone. One last thing I want to mention here, we can add colors and save colors with Webflow in order to be able to reuse them easier. So if I save this color, I can now, later on, if I want to change my text color, I have it saved on here, and that makes it easier to reuse colors throughout the website and again, create consistency when designing our website. Now, I have to admit, choosing a right color isn't easy. As you can see, there are so many colors to choose from. It is quite overwhelming just picking one good color and then creating a color palette out of colors that mix well with each other and fit well to each other. Luckily, there are a few websites out there which give us pre-built color palettes, and I'm really a big fan of using them because other designers have really given it a lot of thought. One of my favorite ones is a website or a service called Material UI. Material is also offered by Google, or it belongs to the Google family by now. And it's really aimed at developers coding their own website. So it's not really meant for Webflow users. However, they have a really nice color tool. And here the designers behind Material have made a range of color selections. Colors which, first of all, read well on a screen, which you can use well on a screen, and which are also fitting together in one way or the other. And you can choose your color here, and Material UI suggests lighter tone and a darker tone of every color as well. And the other good thing about it is they tell you how well text reads on your page, using on the background of that page, which is something important to consider because you will have users visiting your website who are visually impaired or who are colorblind, and you want to make your website accessible to them as well. So even if you have no trouble reading, for example, that white text on this orange background, some other users might have trouble reading that, and that can really influence their experience on your website, and also can influence how well Google might rank your website later on. So it's something important to consider, and Material UI is really helpful in helping you determine the accessibility of the colors you choose. So I highly recommend the Material UI color palette. If you don't like the colors available on Material UI, there are a few other options. Another good collection of colors is offered by Flat UI Colors. They have a range of different palettes available. They have been designed by professional designers, and I find some of them colors very nice. They fit very well together. And if you want to integrate them into your Webflow project, all you have to do is click copy and go back to your Webflow project, and then just added the color in. That's one other alternative to Material UI. One last alternative I want to introduce you to are two other websites which really allow you to really design your own color palette. If you dislike the color palettes, they're available from the other websites. Colors.co allows you to create a palette which fits well together. They use some color theory in the background, and then Adobe Colors as well offers you, first of all, a good range of different color palettes designed by other designers, and you can also create your own palette according to different theories, different color theories, and how you want to match different colors together. One last alternative option I want to introduce you to is taking colors out of pictures, images. If you have a website with a lot of images, it also might make sense to take some of the colors out of these images. And Webflow offers us a neat way to do that. I've uploaded an image here of a surfer, and also I've added an empty div block. Let's go about and filling up that div block with some color. In order to do so, I had selected div block and go to backgrounds and choose the background color. Now you see this little eyedropper here. In order to use that, Webflow is going to prompt us to install a Chrome extension, which I've already done. But if you click on the eyedropper and wait a second, there you go. You can see this little tool which allows us to pick up any color on the screen. Can really go anywhere. And if you now take a nice dark blue out of here, you can see we can pick up a color which fits very neatly together with that image. So that's another alternative to take out, to use some colors on your screen. Now that we have talked a lot about colors, we can start using colors in designing our website.